And would you look at that? We are live and we are back, baby. Ooh. Let me get this here out of the way. Bam. What is going on, everybody? It is 2021, and you are like the majority of the population out there. You have some brand spanking new resolutions in your back pocket that you are excited about trying and making something better for your life this year. Now, 80% of people, New Year's resolutioners, fail by February. That is in 2 weeks. So if you are starting to waver, if you're worried about how you're going to make this happen for yourself, then you need to listen to this episode. We are going to go through and talk about how to give yourself the best possible start for your New Year's resolutions so that you can continue long after everybody around you has fallen off and you can actually achieve what you want to achieve this year. Cool? This is the Two Coaches Podcast. Let's jump right into it. Oh, what a perfect start. What's going on, man?
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Not much. So it is the new year. Everybody's very, very excited. We've had a lot of our peeps coming through and talking about nutrition, and they have specific things that they want to hit. And one of the things that I noticed, and I'm assuming this is Coach Michael's idea for an episode. I'm assuming you heard about it too. They are ready. They're so excited and they're so gung ho, and they're getting ready to shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah,
because they're ready to, completely take on changes that they've never even attempted before. And so, what do you think? What do you think they should be doing in order to?
I always like
to stay sustainable.
I always feel like guilty as charged myself. Like I always feel like there's such an overwhelming energy put into here come the New Year's resolutioners, which I think in itself can be part of the issue because I think everybody has different struggles. And for those of us that like working out, even through hard times, through all of this stuff that's been going on, we still found ways to work out, go to the gym, and keep that body moving. Other people for the first time just this year in 2021 are probably waking up and they're like, I'm going to work out now. And I couldn't imagine going into it and then having everybody be like, you're going to lose. It's got to suck. But overall, I think that's good because I think that the world is in a weird place as it is. So I feel like this is probably a good year to really let's try to get this done right. Let's cover some ground as far as we can, because this is the first time I think for a New Year's resolution that we've had to deal with things that were unprecedented for us, that were different, that were completely out of the norm. So I think it's real easy to start the new year over. For a lot of people too, I wondered, I know I did, starting back into work. A lot of people had a hard time. Some people still aren't working, right? We were blessed and worked our butts off and had the ability to kind of keep working through some of the stuff that was going on. But even coming back, once everything was all right, we're going to open back up, even coming back, if you don't set it up the right way, all of a sudden you're just getting back into the groove of going to work.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so many people, they don't know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
They have an idea. They have some things that maybe they saw, heard from an old personal trainer or a buddy of theirs that's really in shape, something that they just picked up from online. And so they have this weird amalgamation of all these things that they would like to do or that they think they should be doing in order to hit, I want to lose 10 pounds this year or whatever the goal is, whatever the resolution is. But when it comes time to execute, there is no single direction, much less a plan that is going to complement the actions that are about to come later on. Yeah. There's no forward thinking because that expertise just isn't there, and that's okay. And what we see a lot of times, for some reason, it's something about the new year. It's something about the fresh start or it gives people a little bit of a jolt to get over the fear. I mean, people have been wanting to do these resolutions for way sooner than January. They've been wanting to do these for months.
Yeah.
But something about that ball dropping just gets people amped up and wanting to do it. And so they cast aside that fear and they start just doing crap. So what holds them back, I think, from being successful, and you know what? Back up from that.
Yeah.
The reason they stop is because they put forth a tremendous amount of effort in a really short amount of time, like a week.
Yeah.
Right? They'll go to the gym every day, 7 days for a week. They stop eating fast food. They throw away all their sugar and they start eating tilapia and broccoli, steamed broccoli, for 6 days, and they lose, I don't know, like a pound or nothing.
Yeah.
And then they're sore and they're hurt and they're like, what the hell? And then you push that out just another 2 more weeks and they don't see what they were expecting because either the plan is flawed or whatever. And then they stop.
Yeah.
Because they took on these huge, like, monumental changes and didn't see what they wanted out of it. And so of course they're going to stop.
Yeah. So
the answer to that, spoiler alert to all you at home, is to start slow. When you are taking on a New Year's resolution, really any goal for that matter, the most important thing to do is to have a vision, have a goal, have a plan. We'll talk about all that, but set your expectations where they should be, and that is relatively low. This is a marathon, not a sprint in every sense of the word. You have to take it slow and pace yourself. If you are a dude who eats Whataburger for lunch and dinner every single day, right? Monday through Friday, you're there going through the drive-through, and you're expecting to just stop cold turkey and change your habits. There's a few people that have had success doing it that way. Almost every single person relapses off of that because you're trying to change in a week what you've built up over a lifetime. So be nice to yourself. Take a deep breath and don't expect too much out of yourself. Be nice to yourself. Let yourself ease into it. You wouldn't throw a baby into the middle of a pool and just say swim. Allow yourself a chance to wade in, get yourself learned, and then go from there.
Those are those Spartan rules. Cast this one out, for he is weak. Yeah, man. And I feel like like a lot of some of my one-on-one clients back in the day and the ones I still have now, men and women, like everybody's got some essence of their dailies, just what happens throughout the day. And then life happens and we can attribute that to whatever. But I think that's one of the biggest ones is just trying to shove all this other stuff into this unorganized routine that you may or may not even have.
Right.
Like whether you're retired, whether you're in shape or out of shape, whether you like to run, whether you eat and cook all your food and you've never lifted a weight in your life, or you go through Whataburger every day. Like a lot of people undereat. There's so many different spectrums that you can like fit yourself into.
Right.
But until you put down on paper, like some better focused resolutions, are you going to be able to even think about how you're going to accomplish them?
Right.
And I know I've been guilty of, this is what I'm going to do, whether I've done it before in my past, or it's just something that I thought was a good idea.
Right.
And fallen short because I didn't have any idea of how I was going to do it. Like there was no specifics on it whatsoever. It was just like, I'm going to do this now. And that can work for some stuff, but not for everything.
Right. It works for like really short term. Anybody can do that. Anybody can put, well, maybe not anybody, but there's a much larger group of the population that can put a huge amount of effort into a really short amount of time, right? Pull that all-nighter, do a juice cleanse. There's a lot of people that can muster that willpower.
Yeah.
The people that see long-term results and who keep their results are the ones who can do the little unsexy stuff really well over a super long amount of time.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's not, it's not anything that anybody wants to hear.
It's the stuff
That's the reality.
The stuff you don't want to put on Instagram.
Exactly. So, And we'll talk about this at the end about exactly how to attack and build out a process for yourself, so that way you could be you have a plan that is going to allow you to be successful. So stay tuned at the end. But there are three main facets of fitness that you have to worry about. Okay, the first one is working out. You have to make sure that part of your expectations of working out are being realistic. So, for example, if you have never ever worked out a day in your life, no lie, true story. We had a lady, we'll call her Tamantha, and she came she came in and she hadn't worked out ever, right? I mean, the last time she was active was in high school. It just wasn't a part of her life. She went out and tried to do a 3-mile run, jacked herself up, and completely turned herself off to running for God only knows how long, until she's willing to try it again. Whereas if she had gone a little bit slower, had reasonable expectations, I'm going to walk around the block, maybe I'll jog the last little bit, she would have been able to cultivate this love for this activity that is now completely shot. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Workouts. Make sure that if you have never worked out before, that you are having a realistic expectation. If you have a little bit more experience with it, then you might be able to pull off a little more right out of the gate. Who knows? The second piece is recovery. Nobody ever factors this in at the beginning. It's huge. It's like one of the most important. It's the second side. It's the other side of the workout coin. So when you are thinking about your recovery, give yourself a little bit of leeway. Yeah. If you're saying, hey, I'm going to go and work out 7 times a week right out of the gate, then you're probably setting yourself up for a fall. You are not giving your body the biological time that it needs to recover, and so you're gonna really struggle, because it's gonna hurt, and nobody likes to hurt. Not till later, not till you get a little psychopathic.
Whether it's the culture of fitness and health, maybe it's regional. I don't know. Whatever's big in your area, I feel like, for some, and I've done it. I'm getting a lot better at not doing it and like projecting that into clients and members and friends. And, for accountability, it's easier when you look at somebody and we're on the same page as how I feel about exercise and health, longevity, what my real actual like goals are, not my hopes and dreams, like not my travel specifics, but like in like the very real, like applicable health and fitness things. Sleep is one of them, right? Bottom line. But for some reason, we are so guilty of like putting that in the other side of it, which is when you have to push through,
right?
Like that, you don't need sleep, you don't need naps, you don't need to rest, you don't need you don't need water. Like sometimes, for sure, if it's 30 seconds till the end of the clock, don't be a baby. Like do 2 more real slow burpees, you'll be there, no problem. Do 2 slow burpees and bam, you're up and at 'em, and it's fine. But if your heart rate's in your face and you're about to throw up, and these 5 people are 2 rounds ahead of you, and you're like, I've got it. No, you don't need to keep going. You need to chill out for a second. Recover. It's sleep is the biggest one I think right now that's still off kilter for me.
Right.
And it's nothing. It's not because I'm like, oh, I got to get these things done that I couldn't get done during the day. I'm just like, they're awake.
Yeah.
Could be playing with the dogs, could be sitting on the couch.
Watching your phone, whatever.
Yeah, could be reading a book. I was watching YouTube videos the other day on like on just like focus and like balanced focus and discipline in life with your finances and all these things. And I was like, it's 1 a.m. I was like, dude, come on.
The irony.
Yeah. So we've got to put those into the importance. We've got to get these bigger pictures involved so that these littler things are not so like, that's not it. These little things, losing 10 pounds, starting to run every day, those are nothing unless you do them wrong. Unless you do too much of it, you're going to hate it.
Yeah, I mean, and you hit the nail on the head, man. I think that there is a big culture out there of like we love the hustle, right? And that's because that's what we see. Yeah. When you watch Rocky, they don't show the montage of Rocky sore as shit in his bed taking a nap and trying to recover. No, they show him racing up the mountain.
They show him bumming it, and then they show him training like a madman.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like. All of us are the Rocky in the chicken coop when he's like, what do you want me to do with that? He's like, Hey, like I'm serious.
So when you're setting your expectations, guys, so you want to pay attention to your workouts. You have to pay attention to your recovery and be realistic with how the body recovers.
Yeah.
And then you also have to be realistic with your food. Your
Yeah.
nutrition is what controls your fat content. Well, it's probably the most powerful part. 80% is what you take in. But if you try to do too much, not only is that going to be a mental challenge, you're going to put this huge burden on yourself mentally. You also, a lot of times, end up screwing yourself over because biologically what you're doing isn't going to work out too well. You're you do a crash diet. We had a guy one time who juiced for 2 weeks.
Ooh.
It was just shy of 2 weeks. It was like 10 days.
Yeah.
He juiced. That guy crashed his metabolism.
Yeah.
That guy jacked himself up. And there's no long-term solution there. You're not going to juice forever. So that 10-day stint really didn't accomplish anything positive. If anything, it hurt him and made his job even harder on the back end. Those three things: set those expectations, fitness, recovery, and your nutrition. Dude. Set those suckers up and be realistic with what you're capable of, because you can always build. Always build.
I always forget, like I'll tell people like, oh, I've juiced before. Like I've juiced for about like 8 days, right? 8 days one time.
Wow.
I stopped working out. I didn't work out all the 8 days. I stretched. And I had cucumbers and like a hard-boiled egg if I was feeling real like, but I never really felt weak. One time I just wanted a hard-boiled egg. Really? But it was like 8 days, and it was supposed to be very like I was supposed to meditate and all these things. It was
right.
But if like me now, still plays around and bounces all these ideas of like really, really looking inside. Right. So college me was like, I'm not going to meditate. I'm not going to eat because, I agreed to do this thing.
Right.
But when I think about it, it was very like, I was pretty chill those 8 days. Like it was very relaxing. I got real flexible. I just stretched every single day.
Right.
And coming out of it, I didn't like break. I wasn't like crazy hungry, but I did want food.
Right.
Instead of
sure
drive through, or instead of like sweets, or instead of fried chicken or something. I don't know what I would think to be craving. I was like, man, like eggs sound really good.
Right.
I was like, like chicken sounds really good, and like broccoli sounds really good. Like food.
Right.
The first thing I had was like a bunch of zucchini and like a chicken breast or something.
Smart.
And it was delicious. And then from there I went in. I think that's probably when I had the most abs. And it wasn't because of the juicing. It was just at that time, it was just very clear. Like, you've got to focus on some of these little things. I'm going to juice and pretend to meditate for a week. But a lot of people are like, I'm going to juice.
Right.
And then the scale may or may not say what you expected it to say. And then you're just going to kind of forget about it. And you may eat Whataburger, or you may eat healthy. Either way, you've got to do these things for the right reasons. Otherwise they are legitimately just fads that you're jumping in on.
Yeah. I mean, and there's something to be said. I don't mean to knock juicing. Yeah, anybody
no,
tries juicing.
Any of the quote unquote people could associate to fads, keto, any kind of the diets, any kind of workout regimens, strength trainings, carb cycling, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah. It's not inherently a good or bad thing. Yeah. It's when you put all your eggs in that basket and you've never, ever shown any signs of success with it before, and you're like, this is what's going to do it. And it's like, oh man, you better have at least a couple Planet B's, C's.
I will drink a juice, but I also know from that it was a great time, but I'm never going to juice again.
Yeah.
Maybe for my gut health, if my gut was out of whack and the doctors, and we figured out that was going to be the best course of action for my GI tract or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's some real specific things. I think as far as what we're talking about, once you get that nutrition, those workouts, and you're starting to get this plan together, mentally, it becomes more realistic for you to do the things.
Right.
Then you can work on the routine. Right. Then you can work on the plan that kind of create some kind of overarching vision for this whole thing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that really is the second thing that separates really hyper successful people when they're going into these new habits and they're trying to build these new things for themselves is whether or not they have a set vision and a good series of goals to back that vision up. So what that means is when you first start out, you have to begin with that end in mind. You have to have at least a rough idea of what you're after. Now, we did 2 episodes before
Yeah.
this where we did a deep dive into what a vision is, how to set it up, what a goal is, what it should do, and how to set those up. So if you're curious about this, go check out those 2 episodes, because it goes way deeper than we'll go into here. But just from high level overview, your vision needs to be something that is further out into the future. We recommend like 3 to 5 years to start off with, and it's got to be something that gets you. It's got to be real personal to you. This has to be something that you want. That's really deep into the core of who you are. When you mine that deep, when you go that far into yourself, and you find what is it that I truly want. Do I really want a 6-pack, or do I just want to get off this damn medication? What are you really after? Once you get down to there, then your vision is going to act as like an emotional fuel. It's going to be that never ever changing North Star that will help guide you on this journey. So you think through that. You'll know you got it when you get a little lump in your throat. When you think about it, when you picture it in your mind, because it is a vision, it should be visual. So when you picture it in your mind, you should be like, right? It needs to be that base to who you are. And then what you do is you set up goals to get you there. Easiest thing to do. It can take a little bit of courage to do this, but you look at the person who's in your vision in the future, right? Let's say that person in the future, for me, for example, my future version that I vision has abs, has a nasty 6-pack, right? Me currently, I'm running a little heavy, running a little fluffy. So I don't have a 6-pack right now. So things will have to change in order for that vision to become a reality. Those are the starting spots for your goals. I happen to know that a guy typically will need to get down to around 13% body fat or so to really start seeing the abs and start being able to have, I got a 6-pack. So that means that I need to drop X amount body fat percentage in order to make that happen. So you see how that works? You take that vision, you figure out what's different between your future self that you'd like to see and where you are now, and then you build cold, hard, mathematical goals to get to that vision. I need to drop 6% body fat. That's my goal. And I want to do so by whatever time, right? And if you're not sure exactly how to do that, get with a coach, get with your personal trainer, give us a call, whatever. Do some research online. Everything's online to figure out what is your vision actually going to take, right? And that's how you build out your goals. The biggest difference between vision and goals is that goals can change. Your goals should eventually, if you're doing it correctly, your goals should change. And as you go further down into the into the journey, as you get into the weeds of it all, you'll be like, oh shit, that's not what I wanted at all. That's not at all what I thought it was going to be.
Ooh, yeah.
And then be ready to change them. So high level overview. If you want to know more about how to go in and set those up, go check out those other 2 episodes. We go much deeper into it. But if you have those 2 things, vision and a goal, then you're going to be way more likely to succeed than the other 80% of the people that fall off by February.
Yeah. You got the vision, you got the goals. I like it's getting your goals very specific, right? Making sure that there's actually things here that you're going to be accomplishing. Those are your goals, as opposed to just like, I'm just going to start doing this, and this every day. No. You don't do that now, and it's not currently a part of your life.
Right.
So your goal isn't to get a 6-pack. That's in the future. Your goal is to stop eating X amount of times out, or your goal is to, and you'll start knocking down these specifics
right
in your plan.
So you're talking about making sure that the goals that you have are going to match up with those expectations that we talked about at the beginning. That's a really, really good point. Making sure that what you're setting out to do is going to match those realistic expectations that you set for yourself.
Yeah.
So then what you got to do?
Yeah. The last step,
far and away the most important step, is building a process for yourself. Once you do this, right? Well, like let's say you have your mindset is correct. You're like, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Check. I got my vision down. Makes me cry. Check. And I got my goals down. right? I know what I want to do with my goals. All right, cool. Check. Now it's time to build out your process. If you do this part correctly, then your vision and your goals, you can fold those up and put those into the little back pocket of your mind and just let them sit there, because your process, if you do it correctly, is going to be everything that you focus on. All of your willpower, all of your energy, every ounce of who you are goes into attacking that process every single day, right? And so having a really well built process is the most important part. I would say it is the biggest determining factor in whether or not somebody is going to be successful or not. Because if your process, like Coach Michael just said, if your process is like, I'm gonna go to the gym 6 times a week and do all this other crap that is just a shocker, you're just freaking throwing shit at the wall and hoping that something sticks. If that's your approach, you just set the timer on yourself for when you're going to stop, versus having a process that is biologically, physiologically sound, is going to be mentally doable by you, and something that you can crush every single day. You start there, then you'll grow. That's the freaking best thing about having a workable process, because as you work the process, you grow. You grow mentally, emotionally, and physically, and so you get stronger. Your body adapts. Your mind gets what is it called? It builds that callus around the mind, and so then you're able to start taking on other stuff. Like, oh, you know what? Maybe I was doing 3 times a week. I think I'm ready for 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Adjust the process.
You build it up and then you fortify it, right? You build it up and then you fortify it, and then you build it up and you just keep doing that. You just keep doing that. You'll have some kinks in the armor. You'll take some hits.
Yep.
And you'll have to repair and rebuild. Like,
always ready to fail.
Look at it however you need to. Whether you're very an artsy individual, whether you're very practical, whether you're real emotional, whatever kind of person, whatever, if you watch a movie and you're like, and then you look over and your significant other's like, you're such a baby. But they feel the same way about the movie. They just don't respond the same way.
Sure.
You got to know yourself. And then you start putting in this process together, keeping in mind that you're going to have to do just enough to put yourself off of your current routine. You're going to have to move it over just enough, make yourself a little uncomfortable. Right. Like, that's a necessity. Otherwise, you're doing the same.
Right.
But don't throw it over there where you can't see it. You have no idea what's over there, into the thorns, expecting to be able to just like march on through.
Yeah.
And some people do. I have marched on through, but not for longevity.
Not
all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh yeah, there's no more thorns. I'm just kind of here.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of here.
You're just bleeding all over the place.
Oh, here you go. And people were like, man, you're killing it. You're like, I feel like garbage.
But that's the thing, right? Like, if what you're doing, so many people have this perception of fitness or of self-improvement, right? Where they have to be suffering, right? If I'm not just like crawling out of the gym every day, or if I'm not running at least 4 miles a day, or if I'm not eating nothing but boiled fish and steamed vegetables, then I'm not doing it. I'm not winning. And it's like, no. If you take on all those things, especially for a beginner, especially for somebody who is just starting out, taking on all those things is only going to set yourself up for a fall. That's not what winning is. In fact, the most successful people that we've worked with are the people that follow this process that we're talking about. The people that start slow, build momentum, and achieve something every single day. You don't have to win the war. You just have to win the moment.
Yeah.
Win the moment that you're in. And having a solid process where you have like really strict parameters. I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day. In order to do that, I'm going to drink half a liter every hour, right? That means that when that alarm rings, or when you see that clock hit the hour, that you chug a lug and get that half a liter in. Now what's going to happen is, as soon as that half liter, as soon as you cross the little line that you made on your water bottle or whatever your process is, as soon as you see that line cross, you're going to be like, hell yeah. Boom.
Yep.
Those little wins are what are going to keep you going, because you and there's some chemistry, there's some actual behavioral psychology behind this. You get a little
Yeah.
dopamine hit when you say, I'm going to drink at this time, I'm going to drink until it's at this line. Now it's a game to your mind, and as soon as you see that water drop below that line, that little hit of dopamine is going to get in there, and you're going to go, whew,
Nailed it.
and that is going to excite you for the next line.
Yeah.
That is how you snowball. That's how you build that momentum.
It's the opposite of the other snowball.
Exactly, where you're trying to you're trying to throw a wrecking ball all the way over. You're good.
That's one I've been. You have your bottles now. Before you had the bottle with the lines.
Yeah.
And I was filling up mine. I know for sure I got to get, if I can get to the 5th bottle, that's perfect. That's great. You got plenty of water. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I don't drink enough water.
Right.
And I know water's important. I know the benefits, the health benefits.
The necessity of it all.
I have felt the difference between hydrated and not hydrated regularly. And bouncing around ideas and helping others get ready for the new year, and myself prepping like 2 months ago, I was like, I better start drinking some more water, but you said that just now. And I was like, I'm already, it's already past noon. And normally I have 2. Right. And this is the second one right here that I haven't finished yet.
Yeah.
But we've been running around doing stuff, but I'm mindful of it for sure. And I know I'll finish it today because that's all I've been doing for the last 20 something days,
Right. And well, and again, there will be some snags. What you'll find when you have a really good process and you get those dopamine hits and you kind of snowball a little bit, what you'll find is that it gets easier to do the process, but make no mistake, there are going to be days that are harder.
Yeah.
There's going to be days where you are going to struggle. And it's on those days where all that excess willpower that you've been saving, not doing crazy, stupid stuff, like trying to get into the gym 2 days, 6 days a week, and destroying your body, which is going to take a lot of willpower. You have all this pent up energy that you can that you should have in reserve. On those days is when you pour it in.
Yeah.
Those are the days that you rely on. It should be few and far between. Willpower does break. So you should, don't overly rely on it, but you should have enough in store, enough in the reserve to push through those moments. Like Coach Michael just said, he's like, I'm behind today. We have had a lot of crap to do today. Yeah. We've had a lot of changes. It's January. It's a busy time, but he knows what needs to happen, and he's going to make it happen come hell or high water. It's going to be a win, right? That's so much more enjoyable. That's so much more epic. Like, I'm going to win every single battle of every single day. That's so much more epic than like, hey, the scale finally said 20 pounds down. Yay. And then you get to celebrate it for that one day. Forget it.
Keeping in mind, I was just thinking too, like I've been X times more fit than I am now. I've also been a lot less.
Sure.
I've been way heavier. I've been way more discouraged. I've been way happy, like all these things, right? This is probably the most I've ever been real confident and like comfortable, challenging myself in different ways, and feeling comfortable telling members, people who are working out for the first time, whoever, friends, trainers who have known me for a long, long time, feel comfortable saying like, hey, wherever you're at is good, right? Wherever I'm at is good. Let's try to work together and help. If that's something that you like, if that's something that you strive for, if that is of interest to you, or if you're 10 times further than everybody else, right? If you're not starting out for the first time, you drink all your water, you're just hella disciplined, but you have the ability to help others. When people reach out, give them some help. You don't need to start training them. You don't need to send them to the gym. But we need to continue to keep each other going in this direction. That's the longevity that I think of. Like when we're writing down our goals, we were talking about longevity.
Yeah.
And I imagine, running around with kids or grandkids one day, I see all those big things. But one of the big ones that I think as far as longevity goes is us in the health and fitness world, starting out from 0 or going, on year 10, like, our longevity is going to be based on our ability to accept that everybody's fitness journey is going to be different.
Right.
And pretending like exactly what somebody, we don't even know what we need. We barely know what we want.
Right.
So we got to start chipping away at it. and giving each other examples and leading by those examples and holding each other up. One of my favorite quotes, I think I've said it before about the ranch, and I always think about it. Somebody just told me the other day, they reminded me of it. And I was like, heck yeah, man, that's awesome. Because I hadn't thought about it in a while. But the idea isn't that you're just like up here on top of the mountain, like I'm king of the mountain.
Right.
We're all just going up to the top. No idea what's up there. And we're headed up there. I mean, some of us do, some of us know exactly what's up there. And that's it's pretty awesome. But I'm saying, like, we're all going up there. And sometimes you don't even realize it, but you're people that you've pushed forward, that you're like, oh, you can do it. All of a sudden you're crawling. You don't even realize it. And those people, hopefully, if you've worked together the right way, it's like, hey, what are you doing down there, man? You go up, you're up here. Come on. And we just keep taking turns, being in the lead, being behind or whatever, but we all just keep going that way. And I can still reach out to some of those people from the ranch, and it's like good conversation about health and fitness, whether they're doing good in their journey or they're not doing so good in their journey. It's always, the conversation always somehow gets to like a positive place where we're leaving each other like, I'm gonna do better. Because that was a good talk. And that's where we met each other, and that's what it was about. And
yeah, and I mean, and that really gets into the last like little bonus thing that you need if you want to be successful, right? You have your expectations good and set. You're being realistic. You have your vision and your goals are
building
polished
that process.
And great. You built out your process. The last thing you need is support. You need someone on your side. There is not a single person on the freaking planet who has ever done something great and worth doing that did it alone.
Yeah.
Everybody who has ever done anything worth doing has had to rely on the people in their lives to help get them through. If you don't have anybody that you feel is on your side, a lot of people that come to us, they actually feel the opposite. They're like, oh, well, my husband doesn't want me to do this, but he says, it's just going to be a waste and blah, blah, blah. There are people that are in that situation. So if you feel good and you're like, oh my God, we're cooking. Hell yeah. Get in there and encourage somebody, because that is in short supply. And if you're on the flip side of that, if you find that you feel alone, then go and find a community that has walked that path ahead of you a little bit, kind of knows what to expect, knows what that struggle is, and immerse yourself in there, especially in this particular one. The fitness world, like any other world, there's assholes in there sometimes. You'll find the douchebags. They exist. They just do, like in any other facet of life. However, in the transformation community, people who have come to do a specific thing of making themselves better and transforming their bodies, most people are, they're incredible when it comes to empathy, understanding what you're going through. And they're like, oh, hell yeah. Come on. You're going to be fine. You're doing so good already. Come on.
Yeah.
And they'll be right there for you and wrap you up in a way that you could never, ever imagine. And they will become your biggest fans, your best support system. So don't shy away from that. A lot of people get intimidated. A lot of people pull back because they're like, oh, I don't want people to know that I'm struggling. And no. Put that pride aside, take that ego aside, and allow yourself to be supported. It's okay to need help. Get in there and find it, because it's out there.
Yeah,
it's out there. If you don't have that support system, get it. That is huge. Badass. So, a quick little recap. Here's what you need.
Boom.
First up, you need to be realistic. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Oh my God, it's the biggest thing that specifically for New Year's resolutioners that we see. Be realistic with what you're going to be capable of. Look at your schedule. Think about what you've done in the past and set yourself up for success by setting your expectations at a realistic level. Second thing that you got to do is create your vision. I always call it discovering your vision, because your vision exists in you. Your vision is already there. You have to go and find it. You've
thought about it at least once.
I guarantee it. And then off of that vision, you build out your goals. You build out 3 to 4. I always recommend 6 to 18 months in the beginning. Build out those goals. Once those things are done, you're ready for step number 3, which is build out your process. Make your process as specific as you possibly can. Going back to the water. I want to drink a gallon a day. Awesome. How are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to every hour I'm going to drink half a liter. Sweet. Sounds great. Are you going to carry your own bottle? Is it going to be a full gallon? Is it going to be something like Coach Michael has right here where you're sipping on? Yeah. How exactly you're going to do it? Get as specific as possible. So that way, all of those decisions are made and all you have to focus on is execution. Get all the decisions made ahead of time. That way, all your energy, willpower, effort, everything that is who you are can go into executing and winning every single day. And then 4 is go and find a community. Go and find a support system. It might be a community of 3 people, of 2 people. It might just be a really, really good friend. I always recommend having a little bit bigger group because it helps kind of make it a more consistent experience. But go and find that community and surround yourself with like-minded people who are trying to do what you're trying to do. If you get those 4 things, you're not going to be part of that 80% that falls off in February. You don't have to be. You can rise above that 80%. You could become more than 80% and truly make your resolutions stick. 4 things, get them done, and you will set yourself up on the right path from the get-go.
Boom, shakalaka.
All right, man.
That was awesome.
So you have been listening to the Two Coaches podcast. Our podcast is all about helping people who have never worked out before or people who are getting back into their fitness journey. That is who we focus on. That is who we love to work with. There are some badasses that we work out with, but let's be real. They don't need us. We work with people that are more fit than we are.
We just like each other, you know?
Yeah.
We're just like, hey, you're a cool person.
But really who we're here for are the people who are just getting out and they're not sure how to attack this thing. So stay tuned. Tune back into us for videos on how to get started, how to keep going, and how to kick ass and be successful in that first 3-year period. Cool? All right, man. Dude.
New year.
First podcast of 2021, baby. Books.
Bam.
Bam. All right, guys. As always, stay safe, stay clean, stay relentless.
And that's about it.
Let's do the outro. Let's do the outro song, which is just the intro song. Ready? Two Coaches. We'll see you next time, guys. Hell yeah! Woo!
That was pretty cool. Nailed it.
Holy crap, we're still live.
Good, because I was about to tell them.